Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Thursday, May 18th, 2017. And here are some of today's trends in the news. Well, after the market in the U.S. yesterday went down all over Asia. That's right. Nikkei down over 1%. Down across Europe. But here, back in the States, markets bounced back up. Woof. That's right. Oil, up a little bit. Gold went down. So what happened? Well, U.S. stocks closed higher on Thursday, recovering from their worst day of 2017 as investors assessed President Donald Trump's chances of moving forward with his pro-growth agenda. So here's what happened. Yesterday it was, the FBI, the Russians, this one, that one. The markets went down. Impeachment talks. Again, impeachment would be great. Then we'd get Pence, that Penny Pence, nothing of anything. And there's nobody out there in either party. Now let's put this. Who would you hope for? John Insane McCain? Lindsey, when he comes out of the closet, Graham? Who are you going to vote for? Who would you love to see there? Let's bring Hillary back. No, I got it, little Paulie Ryan. No, Nancy Pelosi, when she's not half out of her mind. Or Dianne Not-So-Feinstein. One loser after another. Yeah, let's impeach Trump. And then the others could dump on us. Anyway, so now that's kind of subsided a little bit. According to someone, a former FBI guy, to look into the Russian allegations. The Russian allegations, how we should hate the Russians, how we should not have peace with the Russians, how McCarthyism that's going on now is at the lowest level, that only a juvenile moron like the out-of-touch, not in Time magazine would show. Look at this childish, stupid photo of a magazine that's a piece of garbage, not in Time, and all the media coverage it's getting. Yep. The Russians have moved into the White House. Yeah. And you know what that means. We'll be drinking a lot of vodka rather than Budweiser. Oh, no, Budweiser's owned by a foreign country. I forgot. Anyway, moving on. In economic news, weekly job claims came in below expectations, and the Federal Reserve Business Index rose to 38.8 in May from 22.0 in April. So what happened yesterday is interesting, because today the markets went up. It's based on this information more so than Trump. That, yes, there's not going to be a decline in the economy. No, it won't be big as probably the Federal Reserve of Atlanta expects at a 3.5% GDP increase, but it will be better than it would have been and better than most expectations. That's what's holding the markets up. And again, when you look at S&P earnings, they were more positive than expected, and the jobs that are being created stink for the most part, but they're being created, which is better than not being created, like losing jobs. And the dollar rebound, and the markets look better here because what happened over there in Brazil, they had to stop market trading. The market was down at 10% at one point, closed down over 8%. Yeah. They're concerned about another corruption with the government, the president. What a surprise. The real took a hit, and so did the emerging market currencies, the rand and the emerging markets as well, pushing the dollar up. So let's remember what's going to happen. Should the dollar continue to get stronger, although a lot of money has flowed into the emerging markets and those indexes are up overall, if the dollar gets too strong, those markets go down. And the turmoil in Brazil is barely being reported in the American news. Crude. It settled at a 3-week high because Russia's largest oil producer has agreed to meet with OPEC and reach an agreement to join in with not producing more than they are now and holding back on production. U.S. Energy Information Administration said inventories fell 1.8 million barrels in the week of May 12th, but the crude drawdown was smaller, and crude stocks are now higher than they were a year ago. So again, the cutbacks, they're talking the market up, and it's working. So as long as they keep it at this level, a lot of OPEC and non-OPEC members are making money. Gold edged down after the biggest rally since the Brexit vote. And why? Well, because things calmed down here in the States. So there's less Trump phobia. Not much more than that. Stocks, dollars sink on Washington turmoil. This was the headline in today's Wall Street Journal. Further undercut the president's clout, lowering the chances that he can push through the tax cuts, infrastructure spending, and deregulation that are core to his growth plan. Then you read, Capital drama rattles Wall Street and stocks dive. This is the New York Times. This is a joke. Of course it's a joke. It's the toilet paper of record. What would anyone expect? Do you know who they quote? This is great. Goes on, confidence in the President Trump's agenda to stoke economic growth was questioned Wednesday as stocks tumbled and the dollar weakened. But again, the dollar went back up today. And at a gathering of big money managers in Las Vegas, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, Ben B.S. Bernanke, that's on record of calling everything wrong. We've written about it in detail in the Trends Journal. This is the moron that said there wouldn't be a real estate slowdown nationwide. And under his reign, he predicted that there would be no panic. That Ben Bernanke, that's who they're quoting, and listen to what he says. Quote, I think it's a reasonable concern, obviously, talking about stability in Trump. Mr. Bernanke said. He later added that after years of strong economy, statistically speaking, it was time for a slowdown. Years of strong economy, statistically speaking? Hey, what? You guys can't count past 2%. That's how much the economy's grown since 2009. Who wrote this? Kate Kelly and Alexander Stevenson? You are nothing more than cheap propagandists, quoting a little liar of a man and proving that Kelly and Alexander, that 95% of the wealth created under Obama went to the 5%. Of the 10 million jobs, 94% are temporary, according to Harvard and Princeton. He goes on. In his remarks, Mr. Bernanke described Mr. Trump as, quote, a very unprecedented, unusual person with no government background. No government background? Hey, Benny boy, you never worked a day in your life. You were a little clown boy over there, a teacher. A teacher. Oh, no, professor, excuse me. Oh, professor, yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Doctor. Yeah. A nothing. And they put this clown up as though he's somebody to give us advice. And you know why? Because it's the toilet paper of record. Moving on, Republicans' hope for rewriting tax code this year are fading, and fading they are. U.S. household debt tops pre-crisis peak. I talked about this yesterday. big picture that's being missed here is student debt and the car loans. No, they don't add up to the mortgage crisis, but their implications spread wide in a different way. Because you have all these young people coming out of college with an average of almost $40,000 in debt. And you see the decline in home ownership among millennials. That brings you into the future, which is off the charts for the mainstream media. No one speaks of the future. Trends are forbidden. Hey, you don't even teach them at Princeton, Bernanke, because maybe if they did, you'd have a brain that could have seen the future, that you missed by the facts, that we called by the facts. But don't call us. No, because we don't bow down, suck up, and play the games that you do to get to the top. So you keep looking at this data, and here's a story here. This is from the prostitutes over here in the New York Times. Alicia Pascarosa, 26, owes $100,000 related to the bachelor's degree in sociology she received from the University of Pittsburgh in 2013. $100,000 for a degree in worthlessness. Oh, sociology. I got to go to school to learn about that. I need a Bernanke clown to teach me. I'm too stupid to learn on my own. Oh, and I could get a government job maybe, and I'll have pensions and benefits. Goes on. The debt shapes nearly all her financial choices. She initially planned to attend law school, but changed her mind after realizing that pursuing that career path would double or triple her debt load. Instead, she lives with a mother. I would have liked to move out at some point, but with my loans, I can't justify spending money. Now check this out. Economists have found signs that high student debt levels have contributed to a slowdown in young adult household formation and a decline in early home ownership. Found signs. The evidence in front of everybody. Signs. And again, the student loan debt is at $1.3 trillion. The auto loan debt is at $1.1 trillion. No, that doesn't compare to the $8 trillion in the mortgage debt, but it's increasing. And it is going to be a drag on an economy in which nearly 70% of its GDP is based on consumer spending. So, what else do we have here? Ah, yes, you know the line. China, buy it and sell it. China's wealth fund sets sights on U.S. China's sovereign wealth fund is ramping up efforts to crack open U.S. markets. Yep, on Friday, the fund, which has more than $200 billion in foreign assets, is opening an office in New York City. Ah, yeah, more propaganda. Right here, big picture in the New York Times. No proof, but allegations. Hey, and allegations are good enough for us because we're prostitutes. Evidence links North Korea to cyber attack. But China stays mute. Yeah, because maybe China doesn't agree with it. And as I read yesterday, Russia blames U.S. spy agency for hack. So who are you going to believe? Oh, hey. You saw what happened down in D.C. with that Turkish security force, boy? Beating the hell out of all those people? We have that video link up here. A couple of interesting things when you look at that video link. Look at the woman policeman. She's a little bit overweight, but, doesn't move. And I know a little bit about fighting, having had my own self-defense school in close combat, been a practitioner for over 30 years, know a thing or two about it. Don't want her protecting me. Hey, how about equality? And the shape of most of the men out there, there are some good-looking guys out there, but a lot of overweight ones when you compare them to the Turkish guys with their guns on. What a disgrace this is. This should be This should be the top news. Not that, Trump talked to the Russians and gave them secret information. And here's my favorite quote in this story. And again, I got to read all this crap to find out moronic stuff like this. This is the United States of America, Senator John McCain, Republican of Arizona, said on Twitter. We do not do this here. Oh, you don't, huh? No, the cops don't beat the crap out of people. No, man. They treat protesters just nice. And they print this crap. The militarization of the United States of America. And this little clown of a nothing boy, John Insane McCain, makes a statement like that. And speaking of insane, it looks like they're looking at Lieberman over there to be the leader of the FBI. Joseph Lieberman, a disgusting human being in my viewpoint, and you know what we say here at the Trends Journal, think for yourself. A senator of nothing. Phew. If they pick him, man, we's in trouble. And then finally, Trump advisors want at least 50,000 more U.S. troops in Afghanistan. Isn't that wonderful? Let's pile up more losses on top of the others. The longest war in American history, and a story like this doesn't even make it into the toilet paper of no record. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News.